What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having an amazing day. Today we're going to change out my valve cover gasket on my GX470. Let's go. Now, just a little disclaimer, I am not a professional mechanic whatsoever, but I did ask my boys at Pig Garage and they said it was a pretty simple job, so I might as well tackle it myself and save me a couple $100. So let's go. Ooh, boy, is she dirty. But I don't know if you can see it through my camera, but there's definitely some fresh oil on the edge of the valve cover. Yeah, that's how you know it's leaking. I mean, the first thing that caught my attention was that, you know, that burning oil smell. I was like, holy crap. Is my GX turning into my 240SX? So the first step is to take off the engine cover and all the other plastic pieces that you have right here. I already went ahead and took that off. But with the 10mm socket, you can loosen that out. 2 bolts in the front, and it should come right off. So we're gonna go ahead and start on the passenger side, and we're gonna take off the intake. So pretty much it looks like it's held on by this bolt right here, this hose. We're gonna unclip that, take out that bolt, and maybe there's like maybe 1 or 2 hoses on the intake, but we're gonna go ahead and take this off first. I'm also gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take a picture of the engine bay, how it looks now, so I kind of remember where to put all the hoses back. This is stubborn. That's not good. Alright, so I want to show you the other hoses that I pulled off. So there's a hose right here that comes from the top of the engine to this piece right here. So I pulled that one off to move it out of the way. I also pulled this hose off from the intake. So pretty much this is what the engine looks like. It's pretty dang dirty. I'm gonna go ahead and take off this entire intake completely. So you open up the cover and then take out the filter, and then you're gonna find 3 bolts right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Alright, so the first step is we're going to go ahead and remove this cover. So there's 2 clips right here, and then there's 2 like nuts right here. You can easily pull off with your hands. And like that, comes right off. Alright, so the driver's side, you don't really have to do a whole lot. It looks like the only thing that we really need to remove is probably this hose right here. Oh crap, that's not good. I'm pretty sure the clip is in the skid plate, so I'm gonna go ahead and look for that, and then we'll be right back. Yep. Alright, so next up, we can go ahead and start disconnecting the coil pack. Just all these bolts right here, you just need a 10mm socket to remove them. Alright, so it looks like 2 clips are going to be very, very stubborn, so I'm going to try to just leave them all. Next up, I'm going to go ahead and start removing the coil pack. So, using my 10mm socket, my impact gun, got one out. You should be able to just pull them out just like that. Just want to keep in mind, there's actually a little grommet that's supposed to go on to the coil pack, so yeah, be sure to take that one out. Alright, so I went ahead and I pulled off all 4 coil packs. Now what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and get some brake cleaner and I'm going to clean the edges off. Just keep in mind you're going to need about like 2 cans of brake cleaner, so if you can get 2 or more, that would be perfect. Alright, so I sprayed down the sides with brake cleaner, so it's decently clean but not super clean. So what I'm going to do next is now I'm going to go ahead and start taking off the bolts. Let me show you real quick. Let me give you a quick rundown on which bolts I'm talking about. So there's going to be 1 right here in the middle, and then there's going to be 8 along the edges of the valve cover. So I'm just going to go ahead and take it off, and then we're going to pull the valve cover off. And then we're just going to carefully start getting them out. Well, it's crazy. Actually, the bolts are already loose. Alright, finally got the last one out. Now, we're ready to pull off the valve cover. Oh, there you go. Just give it a good yank, and it came right out. So, here is the fun part. So we're gonna go ahead and take off these spark plug seals. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and bend these 4 tabs that holds the spark plug seals. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start bending a little bit with my flathead. All right, so I'm gonna come back with my big pliers. Now you can start with your pry bar, and we're going to try to pry it out. Oh, actually this one actually came out way easier than the passenger side. The passenger side, the entire piece broke off. So oh wow. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my pry bar, and I'm just going to pry it open. It looks like it's ripping, so that's how you know it's going to be a pain. Wow. Woo! Taking off these spark plug seals are tough. You're just going to have to get a flathead and just kind of like lightly tap it in on each side and kind of bend it out like this, and then use a pry bar to pry it out. And that's what worked for me. So I'm gonna try to do it on this one, and let's see how it goes. I don't know if you can see this, but so I already went ahead and I bent it right here, and I bent it outward with my pry bar, and then go ahead and stick the pry bar on the bottom, and it should pop off like that. Whew. Yeah, just be careful. Yeah, just take it easy so you don't scratch the sidewall. Oh wow, looks like we got blessed. But what I noticed on this side, there's a lot more oil on the spark plug seals. On the other side it was pretty dry, so maybe that's why it came out easier on this side. So now that that's good, we're gonna go ahead and get a rag and get some brake cleaner, and we're just gonna clean off the edge. So I'm gonna get some brake cleaner. Next, you can go ahead and replace the spark plug seals. So what you want to do is you want to lubricate the side of the spark plug seals to make it easier to go in, and also kind of help it from getting caught and potentially ripping them when you're putting in. So if you have silicone spray, go ahead and use that, but I don't, so I'm just going to use just some engine oil. Just get a little bit of engine oil and just coat the sides lightly. So just dab it and just coat the sides. Alright, so now that it's in, this is how they're gonna go in. This is what the backside should look right now, and this is the top, so this is how they're gonna go in. So pretty much you want to just get them in. So once you insert them, you're gonna want to get them seated properly. So you can use a little hammer and hammer it in, but what I'm gonna use is a 32mm socket that I bought for one nut. Now it has multi-use, so I'm gonna use it to tap it in. Alright, so once you get the spark plug seals in, we're gonna go ahead and just hammer the tabs back. Alright, so the next step is to get the new valve cover gasket and put it on. Alright, so moving on into the engine bay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get a rag, and we're going to carefully clean off the surface. There's going to be a lot of gunk around here, so you want to use a brake cleaner and a rag and just clean it off. And then there's also an old RTV in there as well. I can show you real quick. So there's going to be one right here and one on the bottom, on pretty much on the other side, opposite side of this. And then there's going to be two in the back. I don't know if you can see it, but there's two half moon crescent pieces, which is right here and right there. And there's RTV on that as well. And then after we clean off the surface, we're actually going to take off those half moon. But yeah, so RTV is going to be right there, and then on the bottom, and then two in the back. So just take note. And just take note where the old RTV was at, because that's where you're going to have to apply new RTV to. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and clean this off, and then we're going to pull off the half moon crescent. Alright, so using a fresh rag, I'm just going to cover the cams, I believe, just so stuff doesn't fall in while I'm cleaning it. Alright, so with the little rag and some brake cleaner, we can get in. Actually, what I'm going to go ahead and do right now is I'm going to go ahead and just take off the old RTV. So you can use a little screwdriver and you can kind of just pry it out. So what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and pull out those half moon pieces. So you want to just get a pretty good grip on it, and then just pull it straight out carefully. Cool. So it looks like I got them both off. I'm gonna go back in and I'm gonna clean that half moon crescent piece or section with the rag. Alright, so with the rag and brake cleaner, I'm also going to clean up this half moon crescent. So scrape off the old RTV. Alright, so I got this one pretty clean. So what I'm going to go ahead and do again is I'm going to go grab my brake cleaner and rag and just do one more run on the areas that need RTV. So I'm going to go ahead and go back on the back. I'm going to start from the back. I'm just going to give it a nice because last thing you want to do is come back and redo it, so might as well just go that extra mile and just, or not even an extra mile, like just a couple more steps, but yeah, you get what I mean. Alright, so now we can move to the fun stuff. I'm going to apply some RTV. So I got the Ultra Gray. A lot of people recommend Ultra Black because it has maximum oil resistant, but I mean, Ultra Gray will still do the job. So I'm going to go ahead and, now you don't want to put too much, but you want to put enough. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay a decent bead, and I'm going to come back with my fingers. I'm just going to coat it. There you go. Much better. So, this is what it should look like. I'm going to put this one down. Or actually, I'm going to go ahead and put this one in. So just carefully insert it, and what you want to do is just press it down until like both sides is pretty level. Alright, so let's move on to the second one. So, go ahead and lay some on top. That should be good enough. And I'm going to come back with my fingers. I'm just going to spread it evenly. So I think this is pretty sufficient. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put it in. I'm gonna just level it as much as possible, and then you're good. So pretty much what I'm gonna do now right now is I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of RTV on top of on each end of the half moon. So wherever there's a seam, you want to apply a little bit of RTV, just so it will help it seal better. Alright, so the next step is to go ahead and apply RTV on the front side now. So as you can see, I still have some old RTV right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and take that off. Actually didn't see that. Alright, so I'm going to come back with the rag and I'm going to go ahead and wipe that one down. Alright, so I applied a little bit of RTV right here, and I'm just going to spread it. Actually, I need to put a little more. So, I'm just going to put it right there. Right where there's like a sharp little edge right there. So that's where you're going to apply RTV. Don't forget to reapply it back here. Go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Alright, so just want to give you guys a little look up how much RTV I put. I just put along this wall right here, and I put some right there, and then angled it down to right there. And I did the same thing on the other side, and then as well as the half moon pieces in the back. You can't really tell, but on each seam there's like a little bit extra RTV on top. Alright, so now we can go ahead and put back on the valve cover. So alright, so when you're putting on the cover, what I did was I actually held the valve cover and the gasket on the bottom of it, because that seemed like the side that always slipped out. And then whichever slide that kind of slipped out, I kind of just went around and played with it and pray that it stays on. So I finally got it on my third take. So one thing to keep in mind is that you want to align the spark plug tubes with the spark plug seals, and that's how you know that's how you kind of gauge whether it's aligned or not. But yeah, so I'm just gonna do one last quick check to make sure the gaskets are in. All right, so the last and final step before we start installing the bolts, we're gonna go ahead and change out the washers, or these grommets for the bolts. So you're gonna grab your 10mm socket with the impact gun if you have one. We'll go ahead and just grab it with the channel locks, and then you just drive it out. Let me show you a comparison between the two. I don't know if you can see it, but this is the old one, and then this is the new one. I mean, if I hold it to the side, you can kind of get an idea. Yeah, definitely want to change out these grommets, because you definitely want an even torque all the way around to get it nicely secure. But watch, see how easy it is to go in with the new ones, they just slip right in. All right, now we can go ahead and move on with putting on the bolts. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start hand threading some of the bolts in. So what I'm gonna do right now is not recommended for a lot of people, but I'm gonna set it on the lowest setting, and I'm just gonna get it in as much as I can without over torquing it with impact gun. I mean, on the low setting, it's not even that crazy. So, but yeah, if you have time, just kind of use a ratchet or like a wrench. But I like to start in the middle, and I would crisscross in the middle. Then I'll start from the outside, and I'll crisscross on the outside. So I would start up here, and then go down there, and then go back up here, and then go down there. And I'm gonna come back right here to the left corner, and then go down to the bottom right corner, and then kind of do like a, not really as a star pattern, but kind of the same idea when you're like putting on your wheels. Now we can go ahead and torque those down. So most people say just to get it pretty snug with your hand, but don't over tight. But I went ahead and I bought a torque wrench that can get me to 5 foot-pounds of torque. That's what you kind of want it around, 5 to 6 foot-pounds of torque. You don't want to go anything over that, because you can break these bolts because they're really, really fragile. So alright, got 5 right there. Alright, now we can bolt back on the coil packs, and we can start putting everything back together. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and put the clips back in. And then I'm going to reattach this tube right here. And just like that, I think we're pretty much good. I'm going to double check to see if I'm missing anything, but seems like we're all. So now I'm going to go ahead and put back the cover on this, and I'm going to work on putting back the passenger side. Let it go. Just take back. And just like that, you're done with the driver's side. So let's go on and move on to the passenger side. Alright, so the first step is to put back on the intake. Right here. So alright, so going ahead and tighten it with a 12mm socket. We're going to go ahead and put on this filter back on. And now we're going to put back on the cover. So that's pretty snug. And then we're going to go ahead and reconnect this, I think this is a MAF sensor. Alright, we're going to go ahead and reattach this hose right here. There you go. Alright, so there's a hose on the front side of the intake, so I'm going to go ahead and reattach that. There's gonna be a big one right here, actually. All the way in. There you go. I found the last vacuum hose is actually right under this part right here. I don't know if you can see, but it's literally right under this part. Alright. Last step is to tighten in the clamps right here with the 10mm socket. Alright, so the last step is to pretty much just double check to make sure everything is in and everything is tight, and then clean up your tools and then go ahead and start it and then just look at it and see if it leaks. Alright, so pretty much what I'm doing last is I just started it up and then I'm going to let it run for maybe like 10 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and check for leaks, and from there I'm going to check oil levels to make sure I have a good amount of oil in there, and after that I should pretty much be good to go. If this video helped you out, please hit that like button and subscribe if you like. But yeah, I would say this install is about, I'll say 5 to 6 out of 10 in difficulty. I mean, if I can do it, then you can do it. I mean, we'll see. We'll see in about 10 minutes. If it does leak, then I'll let you know. But if not, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.